Anyway, everybody, welcome to the Daily Crossing. I guess you probably were able to see this episode that took place with three of the major universities, MIT, Penn University, and Harvard University, unable to answer a basic question. We'll get into that. Painful to watch, but it's also, it's a reminder of what we got going on in our universities. Why don't we start with the whole situation? You know, the college presidents obviously are under fire right now for dodging questions. You know what I mean, about as to whether or not certain things that are taking place in universities are anti-Semitic. And the question was very simple: does calling for the genocide of Jews violates the school code of conduct? Mm-hmm. Simple question. That's a simple yes or no. You know what I mean? And the answer kept going back. By the way, the three of them at some point, it's almost like they rehearsed or decided to copy the answer of the other person. Yeah. It is a context-depending situation. Yeah. And so very telling of what we got going on a lot of the schools right now. But what did you guys get any feedback on this thing?
I have a question. Yeah. Why do they have a hard time answering?
I think I know why.
Why?
Because it's not... I don't think it's that simple. I think because if you say the wrong thing, now you could be saying something that goes against the Constitution. So we do have freedom of speech. For example, you cannot. It seems simple because everybody says, okay, it's simple. Everyone should know you should not be allowed to say something that's negative. It's not that simple because what does someone consider negative? Because if you consider one thing negative and somebody else considers something else negative, then which things are you allowed to say or not say? So you can't control those things.
So if the question would have been, does calling for the genocide of African American violate school culture?
You can't. It's not that simple. I understand exactly what they're saying. Yeah. Because what if they say, okay, to calling for the genocide or killing a bunch of people, yes, under any circumstances, that's going to be wrong. What if I say they should not be in this school at all because we don't like them? We're not talking about killing people. I just don't think they should be here.
That's not the question.
Once you have one question, that leads to other assumptions based off the answer of the question.
No, but you have to address question by question based on the merit of the question.
Yeah, but I could see why. If I'm the one who's running the school, I can't just answer a question the way you want me to answer it because now that opens the door to everybody else to say, oh no, because you answered that question the way you answered it, now that equals I'm allowed to say and do this.
I understand.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
Here is where I have a problem. This is coming from the words are violence crowd. You understand?
I get you.
Right?
Get you.
So this is from the people that are, you misgender them and they're having a problem with it. So it's like when the what is a woman and they have the same fumbly answer.
I get you.
I don't understand how it's so difficult to answer. By the way, on both occasions, it's not okay. And so where have we come to that one statement connected to this can actually leak into the whole thing? And why don't they, do you have any other reason other than it will leak into maybe another answer that they will be thrown out of the school?
Listen, I watched Representative Elise Stefanik from New York, and I can see this lady's blood pressure going up by the minute. You know what I mean? It's like literally just getting angrier and angrier and angrier because in many ways I understand what he's saying in terms of even trying to be extremely careful about how they answer certain things because in one end that answer is going to carry liabilities, and that end that answer can be for a group but also at the same time I don't want to use the term discriminate but segregate another group of people, and there are moments where it really is not a simple answer, and where people have to be careful about even creating liabilities. In this case, specifically losing donors, though. But there are moments where, especially during a moment in time, what you're looking for is we're looking for moral clarity.
Yes.
You're looking for people that happen to be in position of power position of leadership to actually give some clarity, some guidance. And obviously, if you happen to be the president of any of these major schools, guys, we're talking about MIT, talking about Harvard, we're talking about Penn University, you're talking about this one.
Or
not,
like future presidents coming out of here.
This is not, that's what I'm saying. This is not a little community school somewhere. And then you also have seen, a lot of the positions that our younger generation is taking right now. But you can literally see that there really is no clarity about. Which one is the greater evil? Forget about if you're not clear about what's the greater good out there. Yeah. You at some point you're going to be asking, what's the greater evil? What would be the worst thing that can actually happen to our country? I asked myself the question when I was younger about the issue as to whether or not is it a good idea to support Israel, to support the state of Israel, to support the Jewish community, to support the Jews in general, to support the everything that is connected to that Jewish tradition, that even as a Christian, we can go through history and you can see there has been an incredible amount of conflict between these positions. But then I asked myself the question, okay, so if not that, then what is the other option, right? Who am I supporting? Is it a question of I can just not support anybody? But you know what we said, right? Is no answer is an answer.
Correct.
There's no such a thing as silence being a position that is a neutral position. We can, even when we said, listen, I'm just going to be neutral in this one, you're saying I am unable to take a position against one or the other, which means that I'm not in one end willing to support that moral question, or in the other side, it also means I'm not even willing to support the opposition. So now instead of making at least one person happy, you got everybody angry. You know what I mean? And so, but for me was, what do I want to see? And I said this with a great deal of love and respect for a lot of the Muslim friends that I have. But again, when you're looking for moral clarity, do I want this Jewish Christian tradition to continue to be the essential part of the fabric of our country, part of the DNA that keeps this country going the way it's running right now? Or do I want for this country to one day become a Muslim country that's going to be under Sharia law? There's going to be, and I'll be honest with you, that alone is enough of a measuring tool that will give me clarity. So, but then I'm looking at the amount of young people right now, right? There are out there gathering information, looking for. Listen, idealism is a youthful component, right? It's it goes along with just being young. It's like I'm gonna be a dreamer. I'm gonna be idealistic and stupid sometimes about things that are not even potentially real, will never happen. But that's your position of being young. As you get older, you start looking for the practicality of things, right? How do they work? Why do they work like that? Why is it always this outcome? For these individuals to not be able to provide, as a matter of fact, this would have been a simple difference. Yeah. Yes, that breaks our code of conduct. However, I do want to remind you that we have the responsibility to protect every single. Like you could have gone into everything else that would have been a disclosure, opposed to creating that ambiguity. You know what I mean? And that was painful to watch.
Yeah, but I will say this: the fact that we have multiple people saying the same thing, I think at that point it's out of their control. I think someone above them or beyond them told them this is what you're supposed to say and you stick to the script. Well, because so it's I wouldn't necessarily somebody's got to be blamed for it, but I don't know if that's their true thoughts versus this is what.
No, it's just the culture. Right now, it's the culture. It's what's being taught in this institution.
Yeah,
and
but that's on purpose.
I agree. And but here's my biggest concern: presidents come out of here, or out of these institutions. Like they are supposed to be making the decisions for our country, and if they are unable to provide clarity, there are not real.
But to me, that's nothing. I don't think that's something new. when a president is talking, I need to know exactly what you're gonna say before you say it. I need 3 people to read over what remarks you're gonna say and how, and then that's been a normal thing where a president can't just say whatever pops in his brain and think that it's gonna be
But
okay.
these people
So
are
let's say they rent it.
presidents
Let's
of
say
the-
they rent it by the legal department, which
Yeah.
to me that would be the answer sounds more like an answer that was provided by their
Correct.
legal counsel. Right?
Yes.
Hey, why don't you stick to, it depends on it has to be based on the context depending on every situation.
Yeah.
And they stuck to the same answer, one copy the other. It was again painful to watch. But even when your legal counsel is telling you something like that, you have to say, okay, so what happens if we stick to that answer? What happens if that doesn't satisfy? What will trigger here? Like what will be at risk? Will the credibility of the school will be at risk? Will the donors of the school will be also offended to the point that right now $100 million are potentially being taken away from Penn University. That's $100 million.
Yeah, no, I get you.
That's not you know what I mean? That's a very pricey mistake that even the school itself has to be saying, we're gonna have to let you go because it's either we let you go, and that will be probably the only way that we can hold on to the $100 million. At the end of the day, regardless of what unless you're not able to overrule the counsel given by the legal department, there's got to be some level of common sense, right? Because for me, again, I go back to simple yes. And let's move on to everything else because here's you were alluding and you were going with the question when you were saying, okay, so what if it would have been, what if the question would have been, does calling for the genocide of gays and lesbians violates the school code of conduct? What do you think?
All kinds of crazy ass flag would have popped out in there, and everybody would have been like, "Of
but it would
course,
say,
yes."
but of course, yes. Those calling for the genocide of blacks today, that somewhere somehow we're able to survive, whatever you want to call it, violates the school of
whole
conduct
thing,
today.
like-
Of course, I mean,
Right.
there's certain things that they call. By the way, those calling for the genocides of Muslims violates the school of conduct.
Same thing.
There's no such a thing as waiting on as to whether or not that level of harassment
Actionable.
it becomes
Like,
actionable.
what the
do
hell
you
does
mean?
that
You're gonna wait
mean?
until
Like,
somebody
dies?
kills somebody.
Yeah.
Again, it was a
In a
simple.
campus.
You provide the answer, and then you can expand on. But Congresswoman, here's what we want you to consider. We look into every single one of the other components.
Well-
But of course, we agree to not one of
So
them.
what is the consequence of saying yes? Like, what are they saying? Because when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else, right? What are they saying no to?
Well,
Freedom of speech. I think that's the biggest thing. You cannot tell someone they are not allowed to say something. Now they're not allowed to do certain things. That's now you went too far. But you cannot tell someone you're not allowed to say something. They can say whatever they want. But now once you start doing things, now you're
In a
breaking the
school?
laws. Yes.
That's a private
But
entity.
that's what they're trying to
but
say.
there's still in this scenario, like what I want to be clear about is
Correct.
in this scenario, the issue is they actually believe that by saying nothing, by using a soup of words that ultimately said nothing was the way out. When in reality, I'm with you 100%. If they would have turned around and said, listen, the school has absolutely no problems because we don't have any issue with anybody calling for genocide. That's a clear answer. Oh, okay, I don't like it. I don't like it, but now I'm going to go back to the position you're stating. You got to respect that was a free speech. Now it's a question of do I support the school? Do I all of those things? But there was no answer provider. That's the issue.
So and like I said, I obviously don't agree with what they're doing, but I'm just saying I understand what they're doing. I think they don't have a position. I don't think they do believe in you should or shouldn't do this. I think they just know according to what the law says, this is what you're allowed to do and this is what you're not allowed to do. So then at the point of somebody saying
politically
something,
correctness is like biting everybody in the ass.
so that's what I'm thinking. I don't think they are saying, no, I believe you should be able to. No, that's not what they're saying. They're saying, okay, what does the law say? Is this against the law? No, it's not against the law yet. Okay, perfect. Then I can't say it's against school policy. because it's not against the law yet. Now, if it's under a certain context and it leads to this, then it can be against the law. But to do that is not against the law.
So they could have changed it to any other thing.
Yeah, and that's what the lady said. The lady literally was like, well, what if they said this? And they kept saying, same thing. It depends on the context.
No, at that point there was no answer. The moment that they switched it over, so what if this would have been against blacks? What if this would have been against gays and lesbians? What if there would have been, at that point, everybody just went silent,
mute.
right?
The lawyers didn't give them the play on
exactly,
that one.
right? And so, but listen, the issue with this, right? These people playing at that level and having that lack of clarity, again, literally explains why we have this madness taking place with many of the schools and many of the students.
So here's the thing. It's funny you said this because I don't think the schools, unfortunately, this is, I don't think they want you to be thinking freely. I think the schools want to teach you this is the right answer. Whatever we say is the answer is the answer.
Correct.
So then I'm not surprised that the presidents of these schools are going to do exactly what they're told to do. It doesn't matter what makes sense or doesn't make sense. If we say the answer is blue, the answer is blue all the time, even when you see that it's, you get what I'm saying? So I feel like they're robots. They're meant to be robots, and it's unfortunate that this is what our schools are producing, but I'm not surprised is what I'm saying.
I'm going to tell you what I'm absolutely extremely happy about. What I'm extremely happy about is that we haven't had a single situation of this magnitude since 9/11 where you actually needed to understand what was somebody's position, not only as an individual, as an institution, as a business, as a politician.
Gotcha.
And what happened right now is exposing a lot of people, a lot of entities, especially the schools. And it also tells you the stuff that has been brewing in our country that is absolutely not healthy, not good, and it's putting even the whole country at risk. So in many ways, though, however painful this moment happens to be, I'm actually glad that we're seeing it playing out, that the average person, because this is the equivalent of, is it okay for you to pay your bills if you have the money available to pay them? They're like, yes, what do you mean? The only way I wouldn't pay
if the context is correct.
But do you understand? The average person
paper
that deals with basic questions that requires you to say a simple yes or no, because life doesn't allow you to play this level of gamemanship. You know what I mean? That to see this taking place, you go like, okay, so this is what a horrible politician looks like. This is what a terrible schools. I can see them. They already lost a lot of money. They're going to continue to lose money.
Good.
So that's the way. But
Cheers
anyway,
to that.
Absolutely. So, but with that being said, for the parents that are sending the children to the schools, you got to be asking yourself the question: is this what I want for my child? Is this the environment? Is it still worth the cost? Do they still have the kind of reputation that will open a greater future for a young man coming out of school?
Parents go into debt. They don't retire.
Yeah.
They're like, let me take my 401k out. Let me take a loan out for my kid to be able to go to college, to go to a Ivy League college. Yeah. And all of a sudden, this is the garbage that they're getting into. It's like, no, man. Like, you need to have a clear position. Like, whatever it is, just stand by it. It's like, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Correct.
Fall in for anything.
A lot of choices will be coming out of those things. The last thing is, I wish you nothing but the best for you and your family. Yes. Keep wishing, keep passing it around. If you like this video, please, if you got any value out of this whole thing, like it, subscribe, pass it around, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Awesome. Thank you.